Welcome to Bear With Us, the podcast where two women bravely explore the High Line.
One charming town and quirky event at a time.
We're here for the people, the stories, and the small moments that make this place special.
And don't worry, zero bears.
Probably.
Hello, and welcome to Bear With Us, the podcast from Bear Paw Development, where we explore the people, projects, and partnerships that make our region thrive. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Julia. Today we're thrilled to be joined by Kati Purkett from the Hill County MSU Extension Office to talk about the important work their office is doing right here in our community and the upcoming Great Northern Fair.
Katie, thanks so much for joining us on Bear With Us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Now, Kati, we have a rite of passage here with our first question. So we need to know, and we need you to be honest with us. Have you ever disappointed Smokey the Bear?
No, I've never disappointed Smokey the Bear, actually.
Good.
Put out all of your fires.
Properly, yes. I was taught by my dad a long time ago when we would go to the mountains and cook hot dogs to always have a bucket of water sitting next to the fire.
I love
Good
that.
steward.
I love that.
Oh, so we will just jump right in with our non-bear related questions, of course. Can you give us just a little bit about your background and how you ended up in the extension office?
Yeah, so I actually used to manage my family's business, Northern Home Essentials. And when I was younger, I was part of 4 H. So I belonged to the Golden Spurs 4 H Club. And I had the most amazing extension agent that helped me learn all things family consumer science. And that was Judy Ward. And I always had a passion for H. I loved what she did. I loved how she interacted with the kids. And that was always in the back of my mind when I was younger, that it would be fun to be a extension agent. So when the opportunity arose, the job position presented itself. I talked things over with my family and I decided, yeah, let's go for it. I'm going to go back to school and get my master's degree, and I'm going to see if I can get a job in extension. And it worked out.
You were literally a little girl who dreamed of being an extension agent.
Literally, yes.
Living your dream.
I love that. You got your master's degree. Where did you get it from?
From MSU Bozeman.
Amazing.
Woo,
All right,
go Cats.
not me this time.
But can you tell us a little bit more about what an extension agent actually does, like day to day? I know, you work with 4-H and that type of thing. What else is there?
So there's a lot of community interaction. As extension agents, we provide community programming. So I work with the Hill County Health Department and the sanitarian to bring Serve Safe classes to the community of Havre, and I do both manager classes and handler classes. And for people that don't know what that is, that's essentially we help restaurants make sure that they are serving food safely. So we do a lot of classes throughout the year. I probably do around 50 to 60 community members that actually take the classes, either in the manager or food handler. And I have also extended my reach into other counties when they need help.
Well, my gastrointestinal system thanks you for the Serve Safe, as does everybody's, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Do you do this just primarily for Hill County? Is the one here branch out into any other counties, or how does that work?
So it's kind of on an as needed basis. So in the county, obviously, we do everything in the county, and that also encompasses the Rocky Boy Reservation. They're very good stewards of Serve Safe and take a lot of classes as well. But it does extend into, like, I've taught classes in Blaine County or had people from Blaine County and Fort Belknap come to Havre to take the class also. And that's just one part of what I do. I also do teach community education classes. I taught YAM, which is Youth Aware Mental Health, at a high school for about 3 years. They decided to do a different program this year, but had great outreach, and it was super fun to do that. I go into the high school and I help with their culinary arts classes. So I partner with the culinary arts teacher and go in and teach different classes on knife skills and stainless steel cooking and different things like that. And then I also do some classes through the schools when they do community education. So we've done like a charcuterie fun. I've done pumpkin carving. Um, we did some
Yeah.
holiday gift ideas where we put together like spices and rubs and cookies and different cake mixes and things specifically for the holidays. So lots of different things. And then my next thing that I'm working on is going to be trying to get a people class going again in Hill County, and I'm hoping to set that up in the fall.
What is a strong people class?
So strong people is for anyone that wants to build their strength. It's typically designed for older people, so probably like let's say 50 and up. But younger people can take it too, and it's designed to help them build their strength through using weights, and then we do some like light stretching, ankle mobility, that type of thing, just to help people kind of keep their bodies as they age.
That is really, really cool. That's awesome. I know with your work at Northern Home Essentials, you got to work with a lot of the culinary stuff there, and I kind of like how that has transitioned into this job. That's amazing.
Are you like the world's best cook too?
I wouldn't say I'm the world's best, but I'm a skilled cook, yeah,
You're
and I
probably the
enjoy
best
it.
out of here, out of this office right now.
Um, so you said that you worked like with the youth and the high schoolers on cooking. Do you feel like the art of culinary skills, I guess, has kind of been lost over the years, or are you seeing a lot of students that do know how to cook from their home life? What are you seeing in that age range?
It's a little bit of a mixed bag. There definitely aren't as many students that enroll in culinary arts. I feel like because of the nature of the world, everybody has gotten so much busier that people definitely do rely on eating out more because they don't realize how easy it is to actually cook quick, healthy meals. So, but in those classes, I've seen everything from people that are very experienced to people that barely know how to hold onto a knife. But that's why they're there. So it's great to see their peers also helping like together. So I think it's all over the place, but I've definitely seen a shift. There aren't as many people cooking at home, but hopefully that continues to grow as people figure out that anymore it's just as inexpensive to cook at home as it is to eat out.
And I mean, I definitely saw a shift in my peers, in our abilities to cook or, how adventurous we would get during COVID. Because unlike a lot of other areas, we weren't able to DoorDash things here when everything was going on. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So I was kind of wondering what this younger generation that was kind of a byproduct of the pandemic, if they were picking it up too. That's interesting. Okay. So you serve everybody from start to finish. You got a whole age range going on here at the extension office.
Yeah, it's a broad age range, but I think that's also part of the thing that's so fun about it. No day is ever the same. Like every day's different. We're always doing something different. There's people that we have a lot of walk-ins into the extension office. We can test pressure canners, so I have a pressure canner tester gauge.
What?
So if you need your gauge tested, you can bring it in. I can test it for you and tell you if it needs to be sent back to be recalibrated. Um, there's other aspects. So I have another agent in the office with me. Colleen PR is actually there, and she's the agricultural and 4-H agent, and she does a lot of nitrate testing, and she does questions on trees and gardens. And so there's a lot of diversity in the extension office that people probably aren't aware of.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't aware. That's amazing. I didn't know that you could even test like the pressure cookers. That's really cool. Actually, something that Sarah and I were speaking about earlier today, was something that the health department had posted on their Facebook page, about the rules for cooking at home and then selling home goods along with raw milk and such. Is that something that is of concern to you? Do you know much on that?
Does it affect you guys in any way, shape, or
So
form?
we can provide information because MSU does a ton of research on pretty much everything. So you're talking about like cottage cooking laws and then
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
pasteurization of milk and that kind of thing. We can definitely help with that. So if there's questions, people can stop in. We don't have a monk guide, but we do have a nutrition specialist that works specifically with MSU and for MSU Extension, Brianna Roth out of Bozeman. And any questions that I'm not able to answer, I can direct her and help. So Yeah, we have a lot of resources.
That's great because I know we have a lot of cottage cookers here. So
Yeah, definitely.
wonderful.
What do you think is the most common thing that comes through your guys' doors?
Oh, wow.
You've already listed like a million that you guys help with, but what would
Um,
be the number one?
so my number one and Colleen's is all things 4-H. We do a lot of 4-H stuff on a daily basis. That never seems to change. For me, the second one would definitely be Serve Safe certification. Um, and then for Colleen, I would say it's either nitrate testing or tree and pine questions.
Okay. And as two girls who never did 4-H, shame on us. Can you talk a little bit about 4-H and its role here in Hill County?
Yeah, 4-H has a big program. We've got about the average 100 kids a year. It fluctuates up and down by 5 to 10 kids. So as the seniors graduate out, we're getting more youth that come in. You can start as a clover bud in 4-H at the age of 5.
That's adorable. It's the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, and it's super fun. So they get to kind of do a whole bunch of different craft things. They can do small little livestock related projects. You can't take a livestock animal until you're 8. So you can start with hogs, lamb, and goat when you're 8. And then you can advance into steers after that. So Clover Bud's just kind of starting off, figuring 4-H how to keep a record book, take lots of pictures, and just literally have tons of fun. And then our more advanced, obviously, we have livestock projects, but in the family consumer science area, you can do anything from um, sewing related, so quilting, sewing, embroidery, crochet, knitting. Then you can do food, baking, um, food preservation, cooking, and that goes up all the way into independent study. We've got gardening, entomology, woodworking, leatherworking, metalworking, photography, pretty much anything that you can think of, you can do as a 4-H project. And the thing that's so cool about it is 4-H projects, you purchase a project book, and that project book is just like getting a college education um, in your 4-H year. So the 4-H year starts on October 1st and it ends on September 30th. And there are so many activities and resources that are associated with it that the kids really have the opportunity to develop and shine in areas they're looking for.
Wow. So with like the project book, do you still have like teachers of sorts that teach each of these things? And where do you source those people from?
So the majority of the teaching that goes on is done by 4-H volunteers or community members. So we have a wide variety of people that kind of step up and help. We've got parents, we have grandparents. So there's a lot of different people that pool their resources in order to help kids accomplish their project goals.
I know we've heard from a lot of different community members and different groups that volunteers have been difficult to find in the last 5 to 10 years. Is that something that you are seeing as well, or has 4-H been pretty consistent?
For the most part, 4-H has been pretty consistent. The beauty of having so many members enrolled is that means that pretty much always got at least one parent that's willing to volunteer, oftentimes two. And then if they have grandparents or other family members in the community, um, then a lot of times we get them to volunteer as well. So certified volunteers have been kind of holding steady. We can always use more. So if there's people that have an interest in volunteering, stop into the office and I'm sure we can put you to work doing something.
And you mentioned how 4-H is kind of how you got into, this whole extension. Um, First of all, what was your favorite thing you did? Your favorite project you did when you were in 4-H?
My favorite project was definitely cooking. I have very fond memories of getting together with the different 4-H clubs, and we would once a week we did cooking, and once a week we did baking. So those are definitely the projects that stand out. I also took a lot of sewing. I will tell you, sewing is not my favorite thing. I'm just not patient enough for it. I can do it. We can cut out a pattern and I can help sew. It's not my favorite thing, so I try to source some other volunteers help more with the sewing thing.
I want to challenge your I can do it mentality because I could break you with that. I am the world's worst sewer. And if we printed off a pattern, you would very quickly realize that I am a lost cause. You're just going to be like, sew on a button and walk away. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but I could break that streak.
My little brother was always the best sewer out of all of us kids. I always
Way to
thought
break
that
the
was
gender. No.
funny. I know. Go him.
We've actually had a couple of male sewers in our clubs, and they do phenomenal work. Absolutely phenomenal work.
It is seriously an art. My grandmother and my aunt are both quilters, and my aunt specifically is an amazing quilter, and she inspires me to want to quilt. I'm horrible at it. Every year,
Not as bad as me.
every year I try to make a quilt, and by the time it gets to putting the front and back together, I give up. So
It's kind of a funny story, but I did not grow up around here, but my husband did in a very small town in Hill County. And I don't remember what ripped or something in our house. And he goes, "Oh, let me go get my sewing license." And I said, "Excuse me, you have a sewing license? Is that still a thing, or is he just very old? Do you guys still issue sewing license?"
We do not issue sewing licenses anymore, but I'm sure if somebody wanted one, we could figure out a way to create one for you.
I'm going to start making him carry it in his wallet. He still had it. It was
it's an antique at this point.
That's awesome.
Oh, goodness. Well, how can you kind of go into, detail or however much detail you want about how 4-H really helps shape youth and how it's kind of, it's a big part of their lives. Anybody who I've known who's done 4-H, it's such a huge thing that they've done.
It is. So 4-H does a lot of confidence building, everything from keeping records. So every project they keep records for. So they learn how to keep records, manage time. They learn how to overcome challenges because most every project, you're going to come across a challenge if you're trying to make something to take to the fair to be judged. So our kids are very, very creative. They definitely learn how to interview, how to talk to people, how to talk to adults, how to talk to their peers. They're hard workers. Pretty much any event that you go to, 4-H members are involved in the setup and the cleanup. So it provides a ton of diversity, but really key life skills. We get told oftentimes that if a 4-H member is applying for a scholarship or going in for an interview, the people that are involved in the selection committees tell that they've been in 4-H because of the way they present themselves and the way that they answer questions. So there's a lot of value in 4-H.
That's amazing.
And monetary value. That if they have it in some situations, right? If they're able to sell, I know that that's a huge thing, the auction, and that goes towards like scholarship.
So the livestock sale at the Hill County Fair is a little bit different than what a lot of people probably anticipate. So the 4-H'er is actually required to purchase the animal themselves, and then they pay for all of the expenses. So the feed, if they are having to pay any type of boarding, transportation, they pay a carcass fee, they pay a fee for that entry into the fair. And then when the animal actually goes to the livestock sale, it gets bid on. And most of the time, our 4-H'ers are able to break even. Not everybody makes extra money. So some of them break even and some of them actually lose money, unfortunately. It just depends on who's in the stands buying and where those bids end up going. So they do have a cost associated with it. So like I said, there's a misconception that they're making all of this money. They aren't necessarily making a ton of money. The scholarship plaque is a completely separate part of our livestock sale, and that scholarship plaque gets bid on, and whoever wins the bid on the scholarship plaque gets to take the traveling plaque to their business or their home, and they get to display it for the entire year. And then the money that's raised from the scholarship plaque is actually being put into an endowment, And currently we pay out $2,500 in scholarships. Sometimes the plaque goes for more than $2,500. So in that case, the money goes into an endowment. And the goal is once that endowment reaches $65,000, that scholarship plaque or those scholarship awards will be self-sustaining at some point.
Oh my goodness.
So we are currently at about $34,000 in our endowment. So we need to raise, more money in order to get there, right? A little over $30,000 we still raise in order to get that endowment self-funding for the current scholarships that we provide. Right now we have 4 scholarships that are offered. There's 2 for 750 and 2 for 500. If we end up with an extra person or people that are also qualified for the scholarship, if we can't break the tie essentially, then we typically go to the foundation and ask, can you fund another scholarship if we would need to? So once we get to that $65,000 mark, and we can always have $2,500 in scholarships going out into the community. Obviously, we'll look to either add more scholarships or increase the amount since school is continuing to get more expensive for our youth.
Isn't that true? And it's ridiculous anymore. So how do students apply for those scholarships? What age can they apply? Is there a certain degree they need to be going into?
So we don't require any degree requirements. It's just you had to have been a member of Hill County 4-H. And after that, you just literally fill out the application. The application has a bunch of different questions on it. We choose 3 community members to evaluate the application so that there's no bias from the 4-H community on who is actually applying. And then once those applications are scored, the recipient can use that money to go to any college, or we just added vocational program because the vocational programs are also becoming very popular. So
And needed.
yeah, and definitely needed. So yeah, it's a pretty simple process. Basically, you just have to have been a member in 4-H, and you can be anywhere from a graduating senior all the way to your junior year of.
Wow, that is so amazing. I always had this misconception about 4-H that I needed to be from a farming or ranching family because it was all just animals, um, which turns out I probably would have really enjoyed it because I love cooking and sewing and all of
You
the.
could have had a bunny.
I could have had a bunny.
Yeah, they're adorable.
I have 2 dogs that get alive,
Yeah,
so.
just grab one from McDonald's parking lot and raise it for 4-H.
And that's another good point. So it's not just bunnies. You can do bunnies, chickens, you can do small animals. So we have a couple kids that have pocket pets. We've got cats. We have dogs. The dog program has added agility to it. So
A dog
we have a dog program. Yes.
Westminster show at the 4-H.
program. Assign my daughter up for this.
And that's a good transition though, because the 4-H barn is probably one of, everybody's like, it's my kid's favorite thing in the fair. No, it's my favorite thing to do in the fair. I love going in there and looking at everything. So can you talk a little bit about the role that 4-H has for is it the Great Northern Fairs? I always call it the Hill County Fair. It's not what it is. It's the Great Northern Fair.
So 4-H's role in the Great Northern Fair is pretty broad. We have our Chuck Wagon up at the fair, and all of the proceeds from the Chuck Wagon actually go to fund the 4-H program core projects program. And then we have the exhibits. So all of the exhibits and projects that have been turned in are on display inside of the Chuck Wagon that are non-animal. There are a few animal posters that are in the Chuck Wagon as well, but then we've got the beef barn. So we have, I believe it's 34 beef that will be up at the fair this year. And then we have hogs, lambs, and swine. And I'm going to look up the number of those really quick. I believe it's 10 sheep. We have 2 goats. I can't remember the swine number. I'm going to find it here.
Those are my favorite. I love the pigs.
Yes,
They're just so cute. Little flat noses. You would not think most animals don't look like the cartoon version of themselves, but to me, pigs do. Like they look like an adorable little cartoon, and I love it.
I
They are, and we have a good selection. We have a very good selection also of hogs this year. I want to say it's also 34.
Oh, that's a lot.
is a lot.
And of course, because I'm trying to find it, I can't. That's how
Right.
that always works. But they're pretty even. So roughly 34 beef, 34 pigs or swine, and then we've got about 10 lambs, 2 goats. So there's going to be a great selection.
And do all of those go to auction?
So that's a great question. Everything possibly can go to auction. So it's the 4-H'ers' responsibility to make sure that they understand how to properly feed their animal in order for it to make weight for the fair. Okay?
Oh.
If you don't make weight for the fair, then unfortunately you go into a feeder class and you can't sell your animal.
Oh.
Okay? The other thing would be, let's say you raise an animal and you make it, for some reason, incredibly obese, like you have a pig that just loves to eat, or you miscalculate how much to feed your steer.
I've never empathized with a pig more than I do right now.
Yes. So if for some reason they ended up being incredibly overweight, there's a chance that the livestock judge could give them a white ribbon. So if you are white ribboned at the fair, you also can't sell. But that process is kind of twofold, right? We don't want to bring animals to the fair that are not at a good finished weight for our buyers that come to the livestock sale. So all of it, every part of 4-H is a learning experience. So if you ended up in that situation, you're going to learn something, you're going to fix it next year.
Yeah.
That's not a common problem, but you're not guaranteed to get to sell it.
No, and I mean, that is a real life situation. I mean, especially if you're going to go into farming or ranching, you have to know how to take care of those animals, or no one's going to buy them from you. They're not going to pity buy them from you,
Correct.
as nice as that would be.
Well, what else do you know that's going on at the fair? It's coming up. It's going to be starting the day that this podcast airs. So hopefully people listen to it on their way to the fair.
Well, that's amazing. So we have a very full schedule. Monday and Tuesday, we actually have our interviews. So Monday we do animal project interviews. Tuesday we do indoor project interviews, and then all of those static projects will also be judged at that time. Wednesday we've got the horse show, the dog show, and then we have a bunch of different meetings. We've got our market animal weigh-in on Wednesday night. Thursday, you're going to have the beef show, and that involves both showmanship and market and the breeding show. Then we have a small animal show. We've got the dog agility demonstration that takes place. And then on Friday, we've got our swine show, our sheep and goat show. There's a round robin competition. Round robin is any of the grand winners in their class. They go into a round robin and they have to show an animal of every species in order to beat the champion. So if you brought a steer and you won grand steer and showmanship, then you're going to that round robin class and you get the opportunity to also show a pig, a lamb, a goat, and a horse.
Big bark.
That's so cool.
We do a little sharing. And then we also did add a parent round robin. So parents can get signed up to be in the round robin. And if you don't want to participate, then, and alumni, parents and alumni, if you don't want to participate, then you have to pay $20 to get yourself out of it.
Oh, that's
So
smart.
that's a little fundraiser
like
that the ambassadors are doing.
When you said parent round robin, all I thought of was people showing off their children.
I think I would have
10-year-old.
I would have better luck showing a wild pig than I would my children. I think they're more feral than any animal out there.
Oh, I love it. Let's see. On Friday night, we will also ultrasound the animal. So that gives us our data that we use for this grading. So what happens is you ultrasound, you get the data, and then the data gets sent out to the specialists at MSU Bozeman. and they put all of the data into a spreadsheet, and then they can determine how that animal is actually going to carcass when it goes to the butcher.
Wow.
So you can have, it's awesome, and there's different programs for it. So there's the steer of merit, and then there's swine of excellence, the sheep. I can't remember what the sheep one's called right now.
You
Same
are
thing.
fabulous. I love these play on words that we're
That
doing.
would be a catchy name. So they all have the opportunity to do that. We do have a couple special things that are happening at 6 o'clock at the Chuckwagon. We're doing a sound system dedication. So Ryan Preputton, who used to be our hog superintendent, passed away, and he had a lot of money that was donated to the Chuckwagon to use specifically for an audio visual system in the Chuckwagon. So we're going to do a kickoff for that. Um, the the bigger better barn actually also did receive brand new ceiling fans all the way across to help keep the barn cool, and in the winter help the heat circulate better. And those were from 4-H memorial donations for Scott Young and Julie Strausser. And then there was a lot of labor that was donated. Actually, in both situations, Chris Preputton and Tracy and Steve Faber donated a bunch of money for extras for Ryan's sound system, and Lock Electric donated all of the labor for the fan installation in the Big Better Barn. So everything that we do with 4-H has community involvement. People continuing to back and support the program. So it's pretty awesome.
Well, it sounds like you guys really have this great workforce development, honestly. And so every business would be remiss not to support that. That's amazing. You brought up the Chuck Wagon. Obviously, anybody that has been to the fairgrounds in the last couple of years has noticed this beautiful new building. Can you tell us about that project, how it came about, any hiccups that comes with it or that came with it, and then what you guys do with it now?
And how you get the cheese fries to be so good there.
Yeah.
They're so good.
So the cheese fries, that's definitely just those 4-Hers being in the back of the kitchen and just working to support their program.
Are made with love.
They are made with lots of love and extra cheese all the time, right? So the Chuck Wagon was a vision of a committee that was prior to me being an extension agent. But what happened was the old building at the Chuck Wagon was getting a little rundown, not as clean as they wanted it to be. So this group of people decided, let's build a new Chuck Wagon, and they ended up fundraising for it. So again, our community stepped up and did an absolutely outstanding job of providing funds through partnerships of volunteering, work labor. Some were just straight out donations, but the 4-H community both worked for and solicited some funds in order for that building to happen. It is a beautiful building. There's a great kitchen in it. It's a beautiful space. There is air conditioning, so that's one of the things that we definitely see a lot of people coming in at the fair and enjoying is the air conditioning. Great place to sit down and socialize and check out all of the memorial things that are going on in there. There is a wall of supporters inside the Chuck Wagon, so if you're up at the fair, we definitely encourage you to check out that wall and see how many different community members and businesses supported that project. Hiccups that have come along. The Chuck Wagon definitely is expensive to maintain. So our shooting sports are in there in the winter. Our clubs, council, foundation, livestock committee, all have meetings up there throughout the year. There are some extension programs that happen up at the year. We do give back to Hill County by allowing them to do a few workshops up there. And, in order to keep the lights and the heating bill on, the Chuck Wagon can be rented. We don't rent it out quite as often as we might like to. So we're constantly working on, how we can get to a break even point with the building. We did put a new sprinkler system into the Chuckwagon. It is very, very close to being completed so that we will be compliant with the state, county, federal regulations as far as sprinkler systems and county buildings go. So there's definitely a lot of maintenance that goes into it, but it's a fabulous, fabulous building.
And I was gonna bring up, and you beat me to it, how it's available year round. I mean, I've been to everything from weddings to funerals, you name it.
Into the county meetings there.
Yeah, the county meetings. It's really a great space. You've got that kitchen there. You've got a really good open space.
And the tables and chairs. Do you know approximately how many people can fit in there?
So, with the current building prior to the sprinkler system being completed, we can house 299 people.
That's a lot of people.
Not a small amount. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so you heard it here, folks. Please rent it out. Any event. I mean, you hear people all the time talking about, well, where can I hold this event? Where can I hold that event? The Chuck Wagon.
And do they just reach out to the extension office to
Yep, you can
reserve
just
that?
call the extension office and we can send out the contracts and talk about all the things that need to be done to rent it.
Love that.
Maybe for my second wedding.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm kidding.
The last thing that I forgot to add about the schedule, so we didn't get to Saturday, we got sidetracked, which is okay.
Oh my goodness, we did. We only got to one.
If we talk about Saturday, we have a 4-H fire appreciation breakfast that's going to happen at 9 o'clock
wow.
in the Chuck Wagon, so people can come in and check it out. We also have the livestock sales at 11 o'clock on Saturday. That's always a big one. And then, yeah, Sunday we're going to do loadout and do all of our cleaning, and hopefully everyone will get their opportunity to hit a couple of rides and a couple of booths when their fair projects are all done and they can breathe.
I bet they get really anxious about that. For anyone that wants to see the detailed schedule, where can they find that?
They can find it on both the Hill County website and on our Hill County Facebook page.
Perfect. We will link all of those out.
Doesn't the fair have a Facebook page too? Am I hallucinating?
The fair does have a Facebook page. I'm not 100% sure if they have the 4-H schedule linked up on theirs or not, but it could be.
Check it out, maybe.
We will share at least the county pages so anybody can find those. So with your extension job and in 4-H, what are some of the biggest challenges that you're seeing currently?
Honestly, probably figuring out how to communicate the community education classes and getting people to attend. I think the change in how we communicate with each other, whether that's newspaper, social media, not as many people necessarily listen to the regular radio, some people listen to Sirius radio. So there's all these different ways that we used to be able to communicate and could easily get into people's hands. And I think that communication part of it or advertising piece is a little bit harder to always reach our people. So we're encouraging the community anytime, call the extension office, hop on our social media pages, our posts, hop on the website, and see what's available because there's a lot of things going on.
One of the things that you had mentioned a few times throughout all the questions that we've asked you is the research involved through MSU Extension, and now the extension offices throughout the state are run by MSU. Can you touch a little bit more on all like how this research is really utilized in these communities and the purpose of it and things like that?
So anything that MSU Bozeman puts out, so all of us extension agents throughout Montana are employed by MSU Bozeman, and then our counties help to support us. Okay, so what happens is MSU Bozeman has a ton of research, right? They're a college, so they're researching things constantly. And extension uses research-based information in order to hold classes and provide our information. So if I hold a canning class, I am using research-based recipes and research-based information to properly tell you how to can your products. If you go to a pesticide training, all of the information about those pesticides, it's all research based. So everything has to be peer reviewed and backed by research before we're going to share it out with the community. There's a lot of false information out there in different places, right? Like I can hop on Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram, and I can find all kinds of recipes. Well, the recipe that somebody might be putting out there that they've used for themselves may not necessarily be canning those tomatoes at the pressure or temperature. So anything we do is research based.
And it's so cool how that research from the university enables these extension agents to be experts in like so many different fields and so many different things, because you have that, even if you're not a natural expert in canning, you're able to have that information at your fingertips to provide such valuable and factual information to people.
Yep. And the other resource that we have in the office, we have file cabinets full of what are called MontGuides. And MontGuides are basically a short synopsis of research-based information that we can just hand to you and you can walk out the door with.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you want to come in and get a MontGuide on estate planning, so that's another area I usually bring Marcia Getting in at least once or twice a year to do all of your estate planning. And Marcia has written more MontGuides than anybody at the university. So she has a plethora of information that I can hand to you. What do I do with grandma's yellow pie plate? That's actually the name of one of the MontGuides. So you can come in and you can get that. You can get something on pressure canning. You can get something on gardening.
Wow.
Different bugs. There's all kinds of MontGuides that are readily available.
Why is this not implemented more in the schools? I mean, these are things, especially like estate planning, no one teaches you that. I mean, my husband and I have had many a conversation, especially over the last year, about, what do we do with, we have a child and a house and these cars and a camper, and what do you do with that? And, we have grandparents and great grandparents that are getting up there in age, and what happens if they pass and don't have something written down? It's kind of scary, actually. So that's really cool.
And succession planning is a
Yeah.
huge part of that too, especially in the ag world.
Yes. Oh, yes. When you have farmland and a bunch of tractors, what the heck are you going to do with that? I love that.
There's a MontGuide for it.
Yes. I think that is amazing. And anybody can just stop in your office and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Is it something you can help me with? And
Yep, absolutely. We're more than happy to help. And like I said, if we don't have the resource readily available, but it's something that we, can get our hands on, we can help you with that.
Can I just show up in my sweats and like order a pizza and just become the smartest person in the world by reading all of these?
Sarah, we would love to have you. Come on in.
I'll share the pizza.
So I have a final question for you. And it's one that we like to ask most of our guests. What are you most excited for, either in 4-H or just in your job in general? What excites you most?
Oh, what excites me most? Probably just connecting with people and seeing how our community just continues to stick together. Rural America is something that there's a lot of people that don't really know anything about. So when you come from small town rural America, you get that vibe and that feeling, and that still excites me every day.
I love that. We have such an amazing community here. And thank you so much for joining us today on Bear With Us and talking about the side of community that you get to see. And thank you for all that you do, especially in the 4-H program. That's truly amazing. And someone's got to do it. So thank you.
It is absolutely my pleasure, and I'm so happy you invited me here today. It was fun to chat with you ladies and see how you all bear with it.
I think Julia just bears with me. But again, for anybody listening, we are going to put the links for all the information that Katie talked about into our episode. And if you have any topic that you want to know more information on, you can join me in my sweatpants and my pizza and the extension office of the courthouse and get a MontGuide.
Yes. So the day you hear this is the beginning of the Hill County Fair, the Great Northern Fair. So go. We will not be at the office though, but you can find us at the fair. So come find us at the fair. Week after the fair, we'll be back in the office.
Give it a week to think of a topic. Yeah.
Right on.
Well, thank you so much, Katie. And as always, thank you for listening. And we will see you again in 2 weeks.
Thanks for bearing with us.